Back in 2019, I reviewed every single Godzilla movie on my YouTube channel as part of a review marathon for the upcoming Godzilla King of the Monsters. It was called Godzillathon, and when King of the Monsters finally released, I gave it a review and gave the Godzillathon a rest. But the thing is, a lot has come out ever since Godzillathon was finished 4 years ago. Godzilla vs. Kong came out 2 years later, there's new TV shows, and there's even a new Japanese movie. Heck, Godzilla vs. Kong is getting a sequel, so there's a lot to cover, and I decided to reboot Godzillathon to cover these brand new things. So without further ado, the return of MAFDOMiNUS' Godzillathon. All the way back in 1962, Godzilla and King Kong fought for the very first time. This was back when they still used rubber suits, so it wasn't really all that great special effects wise, but it was still an entertaining movie nonetheless. But this is one of those things where we were like, oh my god, wouldn't it be so cool if this happened but with modern day effects? Well, believe it or not, Toho did actually wanted to remake King Kong vs. Godzilla. They just didn't have the rights to use Kong for some reason, even though Kong is kind of in the public domain, or at the very least the novel that was supposed to be a tie-in to the movie is, for some reason, I don't know, the copyrights of King Kong is just way too complicated. It just makes no sense. So it seems like a King Kong vs. Godzilla remake would never happen until Legendary got the rights to Godzilla, and they also had the rights to make a King Kong movie. All they had to do was move from Universal to Warner Brothers, and out comes the Monsterverse, a shared universe between Godzilla and King Kong, and thanks to that, we finally got a rematch, Godzilla vs. Kong. The movie takes place in 2024, where Godzilla's just pissed off for some reason. The characters don't seem to know why he is, so Millie Bobby Brown and the Godzilla team try to figure it out, while the Kong team basically want him to kick Godzilla's ass to protect the world. They take Kong to the Hollow Earth because Skull Island was destroyed in a storm. It makes sense because the movies have been building up to going into the Hollow Earth for quite a while. The movie wastes no time in trying to get Godzilla and Kong to fight each other. It has a very fast pace that basically means let's just get to the action because that's what you all came here for. Because of that, there really isn't that much character development for the human characters. The human characters are really just there to serve the monsters, for they are the real main characters, although Kong does have a special bond with a little girl named Gia, and she's really there to give Kong a lot more depth, showing a much more protective side and what his motivations are for fighting Godzilla, to save not just his world, but hers as well. Gia is essentially Kong's morality pet, but that's okay because they're definitely close. They're pretty much a family. I mean, after all, Kong did save Gia from the Skull Island storm that killed her parents and pretty much the entire ecosystem. So essentially, Kong is the main character of this movie. It's mostly him trying to find a new home after Skull Island was destroyed. But oh boy, Godzilla comes along and he sort of plays the antagonist. He's just pissed off. I mean, to be fair, Kong is entering his territory, but obviously he doesn't know that the humans are just trying to get Kong to the Hollow Earth. But let's all be honest, Godzilla doesn't care. He sees Kong as a threat to his power, so he's going to kick his ass because he's a rival alpha. Oh, here comes my favorite part. Blam! He punches him in the face. But obviously it's not that easy to take out Godzilla. Look, he's about to shoot his atomic breath. Oh, monkey jump! But the biggest highlight of the movie is after 59 years, Godzilla and King Kong finally clash together and they fight. The moment a lot of people have been waiting for, a rematch between Godzilla vs. King Kong, and it is awesome! Seeing these two iconic giant monsters just duking it out, Godzilla manages to land a hit on King Kong's back, and he just smiles. He's just happy he landed a hit. Look at him, I've never seen Godzilla smile. Oh look, Kong shoves that axe down Godzilla's throat, a reference to how he shoved the tree in the original movie. Now, in the end, Godzilla ends up winning. King Kong loses the battle, but he doesn't die. Instead, he roars in defiance. He's a worthy opponent for sure. But guess what? We find out later what is actually pissing off Godzilla. It turns out there's this evil corporation named Apex that has King Ghidorah's skull. And Godzilla can basically hear that they're using it to telepathically connect to a giant mechanical robot. Oh yeah, that's right. They're bringing in Mechagodzilla into the Monsterverse, and yes, he basically goes rogue and rampages the entirety of Hong Kong. Godzilla's pissed off, so he tries to go and fight Mechagodzilla, but unfortunately Mechagodzilla is stronger than him. I really love this version of Mechagodzilla. His design is cool, and another thing I like about him is that he's essentially a combination of all the other previous Mechagodzillas rolled into one. He's evil like the first one, he's made of bits and pieces from King Ghidorah like the second one, and his body gets taken over by a previous consciousness through a skeletal-like structure just like Kiryu. And if you want to stretch it, he's similar to the anime Mechagodzilla in that he has his own free will and basically wants to take over the world. With all of those characteristics, he makes for a pretty good Mechagodzilla that's pretty tough for Godzilla to beat. It gets to a point where Kong has to come in and save him. So yeah, it's actually a three-way battle. Godzilla and Kong team up to fight Mechagodzilla. They don't quite defeat him until Godzilla uses atomic breath to power up Kong's battle axe. So now it's able to cut through Mechagodzilla's indestructible metal. So he just slices his arm and his leg, and then he rips his head out. He's like the Predator, he just takes it like it's a trophy. It's so badass. So Kong and Godzilla make up, they're no longer enemies, and they seem to be friends now, for now. After 59 years of these guys having a rivalry, they finally got their rematch movie, and it was fucking awesome. But this is only just the beginning. After Godzilla and Kong stop fighting, there is so much more to come.